Do you want to be a better negotiator? Do you ever wish that you could think multiple steps ahead in conversations? Well, I had a little time this week, and so I coded up this little gem that I'll call the Negotiator Assistant. It's basically a chess engine, but for negotiations. Now, LLMs are really good at creating realistic responses based on the context that you're able to provide to them. So let's put that to use to simulate multiple conversation pathways inside a negotiation to help you find like the optimal or ideal negotiation strategy that can work to get your goal. Just like kind of how a chess engine will look at the board for context and see all of the pieces in front of it and then predict the potential moves ahead, this tool is able to map out how a negotiation might unfold and then find you the winning pathways to get you closest to your goal. I built it all in Cursor and I pretty much vibe coded the whole thing. It took me about probably an hour of actual work and the rest was just making it pretty. It's written in Python though. I'll share and open source the code and then share a link so that you can go fork it and make it better. So anyway, here's how it works. Let's try an example. Let's select Canada-US trade negotiation because it's kind of funny and it's in the news right now. But you can create your own scenarios. You input your goal and then some context around the situation. Really, the more the better. And any conversation history that you might have so far. You also give it a scoring metric as well. So how it's going to score the pathways. Now let's run the simulation and then we can see the AI builds an entire decision tree showing the dozens of possible exchanges between you and your opponent. You can go up to 5 levels deep, but at that point you're working at I think about 360 nodes. So it can get a kind of out of hand if you go anything further than that. But for each of your potential responses, the system predicts how your opponent might react. Then it predicts how you could respond to that, and so on and so forth. Ideally, it's trying to set you up for good layups that get you to the closest to your goal. Now, every conversation path then gets scored based on how well it achieves your goal, how close it gets to your goal. You see here in the visualization, you can see that the entire conversation tree has been color-coded with these different paths showing the different negotiation strategies it's attempting to use. The thickness of the line represents the probability of the response occurring based on the context that you give it. The best path is then highlighted, showing you the optimal route to your goal. So under the hood, how it scores that is it's leveraging Monte Carlo simulations so that rather than exhaustively analyzing like every possible conversation path, which is infinite, it's intelligently samples the most promising paths, exploring all of those potential futures, and it does that for you. Now the scoring system applies, its game theory principles, treating negotiations as like a strategic interaction where both parties have competing and complementary interests. So when it's your turn, the system assumes you're going to be making optimal choices. For your opponent's turns, it's calculating a probability-weighted expected value, so to account for uncertainty in their responses. Now, this mini-max approach with probabilistic opponent modeling creates the decision framework to balance the optimism with realism. After running the simulation, you'll get the recommended responses ranked by their expected effectiveness. So you can choose one and it adds it to the conversation, and then you can go ahead and you can enter your opponent's actual reply, and then the system will rerun the engine from that point on and recursively until you win your negotiation or whatever. It doesn't have to just be for business negotiations. You can do it for a lot of things. You can do it for salary discussions, buying a home, maybe resolving conflicts, or you could even use it for dating apps or whatever. My favorite would probably be enterprise SaaS contract negotiations, just because those are torture. So in negotiations, as in chess, the player who thinks more moves ahead usually wins, and this kind of helps you do that. I want to give a quick shout out to Eddie Hsu, who gave me this idea. He was working on something similar a little while ago, though I think it was just for dating apps. Anyway, he's doing some really cool stuff. You should check him out. I'll put a link in the description for you. I've added the code to my GitHub repo, open sourced it so you can fork it and make it better if you want. I'm sure there's a lot of like room for improvement. I'd suggest using faster inference, something like Groq. That's GROQ, not XAI's Groq. They specialize in like super high speed inference, so you can go more layers deep and faster. Most of the code is actually in the front end, so if you strip that out and set it up as an API, it can be nice and lead. You can use it in different places. It's probably a good thing to eventually do. Anyway, I had a ton of fun making this. It's really amazing what you can build nowadays just by chatting to AI coding tools like Cursor or Windsurfer. If you want me to keep making videos and building cool things, then please just like and subscribe. But keep your comments positive, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks.